We're looking right.
Looks like we have.
Keep moving. But I count 6. I count 7. So we should be good. Oh, no.
We've got a couple phone numbers that give us a second to check.
Yeah.
And Jose, we see your hand up. We will unmute you for the CAC report.
There, is that a little better so that you can see a few more?
We have a phone number ending in 340. Is that a board member?
Yes, Espinoza, 4340.
Thank you. We will get that labeled. Then phone number ending in 350. Is that a board member?
Yeah, this is Juan Aguilar.
Good afternoon.
Hello,
Also,
guys.
a phone number ending in 675. Phone number ending in 675. Can you take yourself off mute? Let us know if you're a board member or not.
What's your close?
Okay,
Do you?
Yeah.
It's up to you.
well, yeah, if it makes it, because, yeah, otherwise you hear me, right?
I can hear you more through.
I'll move it over here.
And Director Hoag, we see you. We will move you over, get you unmuted. Give us 1 second.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Mary Michael, you're muted.
I think we have 9 or 10 board members, Mr. Chair, by the look of it.
Okay. Great. Ready when you are. There's April waving.
I think we can get started
Yeah.
when you're ready. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll call this meeting, are you ready, April? Or Joy?
Yes, I'll do roll call after the meeting is called to order.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the MCAG Governing Board, November 19th, 2020 at 3 p.m. to order.
Okay, Joy, roll call, please.
Thank you. Director Aguilar,
Here.
Director Espinoza,
Present.
Director Hoag,
Present.
Director Lohr,
Here.
Director McDaniel,
Present.
Director Murphy,
Here.
Director Oliveira, I'm sorry, Director Oliveira, Director Pereira,
Here.
Director Silvera,
Present.
Director Villalta,
Here.
Chair Creighton.
Here.
Thank you, and we do have a quorum.
Pledge of allegiance.
Hmm?
Pledge of allegiance.
Right. So we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Villalta, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, thank you. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance
to
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of minutes or approval of agenda is posted.
Laura moved to approve.
Second, Murphy.
Thank you. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you. Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hogue,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
Daniel, I.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Pereira,
Yes.
Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Recognition of service for outgoing directors. So I prepared a little statement here to read on behalf of MCAG and the other directors. It's my pleasure to recognize a few of our colleagues who will be leaving office at the end of this year. Director Lee Lohr, 4 years of service, congratulations. Director Mike Murphy, 4 years of service, congratulations. Director Oliveira, 18 years of service, congratulations. And Director Volta, 10 years of service. We have some clocks here for you guys that will get to your city managers. They're actually quite beautiful, something you put on your desk. There's a personalized message on each one of them too. I don't know if you guys want me to read them. Basically, it just states the length of service each one of you guys have spent on the board and serving your county of Merced and the Merced Association of Governments. MCAG appreciates your service. The county of Merced appreciates your service. The citizens of Merced. Sometimes we don't have time to do a lot of things and people have busy lives, so it's really important that you guys dedicate your time for your cities and the county to fulfill your service. Outstanding job. So on behalf of the board, I want to say thank you and wish you all the best of your future endeavors and congratulations. And you know, we're just a phone call away. So at this time, I'd like to open it up to the other board members to say anything to the outgoing directors. So if we don't mind, you have to raise your hand online or you can patiently interrupt if we can get that. Do we have any hands raised? We'll start with McDaniel. I know he'll say something, so we'll just go right to Darren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was an honor serving with all of you folks. I mean, many years of whether we didn't agree or we did agree, we were always able to work through it together, and much appreciated. This is a tough position to be in, all of us. Not everybody agrees with everything that we do, but I appreciate how we can all still get along and be able to do this. Mr. Chair, thank you very much for allowing me to say something.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I say something? Is Espinoza?
Espinoza, go ahead.
Yes. Well, I just want to thank all the board members that are leaving. I just want you to know that I appreciate everybody as well. I am still there. If you need anybody needs anything, I'm here to always support everyone throughout our county. So appreciate all the time that you spend on the board and working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Silvera.
You may be muted.
Scotty, you're muted there. Can you tell if he's muted? Yeah, he's muted.
He's muted.
Can you unmute Director Silvera? Okay, so we'll jump from that over to Lee Lohr. Would you like to say anything?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Did you want me
Director
to
Lord,
pause?
can you wait 1 second? I apologize. I want to get, I just had a brain malfunction. I want to get, Pereira and Severa, if I can, before the outgoing directors give their statement. That way you guys can, hear what everybody has to say before we do that. How about,
Sure.
Pereira?
Sure. Well, it's been an honor with all of you. Being a lifelong citizen of Merced County, the most notable difference that I saw over the years was the regional waste authority coming into existence and the transformation of the facility from a drain financially on us to a positive result. And so I guess especially Joe Oliveira, you've been on here the longest and probably have seen the most changes. So anyways, just like to congratulate each of you of where you're headed to next. And thank you for your service to us. This organization really works hard at being better for the citizens of the county. And I just appreciate all of your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Aguilar?
Yes, just real quick, once again, thank you for serving in this capacity. Thank you for serving your community. It was a pleasure working with everybody, and I really wish the best and good luck with your future endeavors. Once again, thanks for your service.
Thank you. Director Hogue?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what they just said. Thank you so much for your service and your time. And I know it's been kind of contentious on the board. Sometimes we didn't all get along, but it's been an interesting ride those last 4 years, and I have 4 more on your board. So let's hope we can get as much as we can get done in the coming up years. But thank you for your service, and we'll miss you.
Thank you. Director Severa?
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties.
Right.
I had to switch back to my iPad. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, I just echo the comments of my colleagues. Want to thank you for your years of service and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Scott. Director?
Yes, thank you. I do just want to say thanks on behalf of the staff, but especially from my perspective. This board is always going to be a kind of a special one for me, because it was this group that gave me the opportunity to serve in this role and had the confidence that I could kind of help transition the agency out of some tough times. So it's a bittersweet moment for me and for Director Oliveira and Director Villalta. I've worked with both of you for many years, even back in my time in the Congressman's office. So it really does feel like an end of an era with both of you leaving public service. And I've really enjoyed the opportunity, and I feel like I've grown a lot with the leadership that both of you and Director Lohr and Director Murphy have provided. So just thank you for that vote of confidence that you had in me and for giving me this opportunity.
Very nice, thank you. Director Lohr, if you don't mind.
Yes, and again, thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank each of the directors for your collaboration in these last 4 years. I have learned at least one thing from each and every one of you. And I'm really excited about the transition. I'm excited about the coming years because of the many different possibilities that I can bring forth as now a resident and community member. I want to thank the MCAG staff for their hard work, their resiliency, and their dedication. You are an amazing team, a team that worked through the rough waters, and you made it look like smooth sailing. You know how to make work fun, and you know when to show professionally that you mean business. You exceeded expectations with the transitions and the workload that we've had. You proved you know how to pivot. I am super confident in you, your work, your judgment, and your ethics. You have 11 different bosses, which may be a challenge sometimes. And I know you will continue to raise the bar, raise the standards at MCAG. I am proud to have been a part of your team for the last 4 years, and I hope I get to work with you again in whatever future capacity we all may be in. I want to thank you for all that you've done, all your help and support. You have shown so much support and help to me and our community. I wish you all well, and I look forward to the next adventures that we all may have. I'm not going away, so I'll be back. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Director Villalta?
Thank you. Well, you know, I have to say this board is probably the best MCAG board I've worked with. And I'm very honored to know all of you have had a good time. I'm going to miss this excitement, but not as much as I miss my grandkids and daughter. And I'm looking forward to spending a lot more time with them, or else if I didn't have children, I think I'd be here till they kick me out. But you know, we have good people taking over, and I'm sure the group as it's functioning now will stay functioning. And I know Los Banos, just personally, Los Banos has made a lot of strides, and I'm very proud of that to be leaving on this note. And thank you all.
Thank you. Director Murphy.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. I just want to say thank you to you know, all the directors at MCAG and the staff. It's a unique organization, an important organization, and I've certainly benefited and learned a lot from this organization and the interactions here. Some of the things that I think I'll walk away with as some of our accomplishments are certainly the decision to hire Stacy and her phenomenal talent and the team that she has attracted at the staff level. And so I transition into other things. This has always sort of been the time as term limits apply here in Merced, and so I look forward to that, and I want to thank each of you.
Thank you. I'd like to say a few words on behalf of the board and MCAG. Thank you guys again for all your service. I believe what Mayor Villalta said earlier and Director Lohr, that we are a good team. I've watched from afar last 20 years. This is a great team. We've got good staff. We're all heading the right direction. And the nice thing is with Merced, Los Banos, Merced County, as you guys leave, you know, to watch the collaboration that we've done, and everybody gets what they want at the end of the day, and we're moving forward, and this county's benefiting from that. So I look forward to the continued success for MCAG, and I'll be missing all four of you guys. I think Oliveira is not here today.
I think he's just had his hand up. So
he just pop in?
Yep.
Welcome. So I preemptively said that, but let's get Director Oliveira. I didn't know he jumped in on it.
Thank you, Mr. Director. I've been here all along. I just want to say that when I first joined 18 years ago, I never dreamed I would be on this board for 18 years. I've seen a complete overhaul or turnover of all the staff, of all the board members a couple of times. And I think each time we've had a turnover, it seems to get stronger and stronger. And the new members coming in are going to have to really work to keep the board as strong as it is. I think we all try to do the best we can for the county and our cities. And with the help of Stacy and her staff, I think the newbies coming in can continue to keep Merced County going in the right direction, because I really believe that county is a better place now than it was 18 years ago. Thank everybody. It has been a lot of fun working with everybody. Best of luck in the future. Thank you.
We're going to miss all you guys. Thank you guys very much. And how are we going to get these service clocks to everybody?
Well, Joy will deliver them to City Hall and to the county office, so to your offices.
Okay, great. Thank you guys. Thank you for your comments. Much appreciated, and thank you for your service, especially. Public comment.
Good afternoon. We will just give folks a second to raise their hands if you're on a PC or laptop. We do have one hand raised, and that is Mr. Agar, and we will get him unmuted in a moment. And we did not receive any public comment in advance, just for your information.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Again, good evening, Mr. Chair, directors of your board, Executive Director Stacy Guzman. I'd like to thank you for giving this opportunity here to talk during your public comment and allowing me, just because I have another commitment at 4 o'clock that I have to attend, another commission meeting. I do have Gregoria Ponce, who has also joined us this evening, and she will cover the actual official Caltrans report. But I wanted to just let the board know that, number one, I'm officially now the District 10 Director, no longer interim. I wasn't sure if I mentioned at the last board meeting, but I'm happy to again serve the second time here in Caltrans District 10 and continue to this great partnership that we have with MCAG. I want to also congratulate and thank the outgoing directors that you just presented today. I want to thank them for their support over the many years working with Caltrans, especially those that I've worked with directly, like Mayor Villalta. So we've had a lot of challenges, and we continue to commit to deliver the commitments we've had in various task force meetings, such as the 152 Los Banos. We had a great meeting last week, or was it already this week? Can't remember. Days are back and forth. I also have scheduled meetings and being engaged with the community of Planada. That's coming up on December 7th. And of course, the 165 Hillmore task force as well. So I appreciate all the great partnership we've had. And again, I look forward to continuing to work with all of you in continuing to deliver all these important projects in your county, as well as dealing with the existing challenges we have with litter, which we do have another litter pickup stand down scheduled for next week. And of course, the challenges we have in encampments and homelessness in the areas of Merced. So continue to work with all of you. And I appreciate the great partnership we've had. And of course, I'm always available if there's any questions or concerns working with us in Caltrans. And just lastly, just want to I want to wish all of you a safe and a wonderful happy holidays coming up very soon. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Item 5, Citizen Advisory Committee report.
We will get Jose unmuted, and he'll be giving the report this afternoon. Jose, you are unmuted on our end. Just unmute yourself on your end.
There it is. Now you can hear me.
Welcome.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, directors. Your Citizens Advisory Committee finally gathered enough members to create a quorum. Trying to meet via teleconference has not been easy. The 2 new members whom you appointed made it possible, Shane Smith and Michelle Symes Tiara. We're finally able to take action on the agenda of our November 6, 2020 meeting. During the public comments, Mr. Rene Gutierrez, Associate Planner for the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission and San Joaquin Joint Power Authority, invited us, and that includes all of you, to log in to their viral meeting tomorrow, November 20th at 9 a.m. Joe Young has the login information. And for the information items, there was in the packet, there are a few items as information, but were not discussed. Some examples were the November MCAG newsletter, quarterly financial report, MCAG board approved contract status. We finally were able to elect the chairperson for the Citizens Advisory Committee. I have been elected unanimously to serve through the end of June 2021. With the assistance from Joy, Mary Michaels, and support from CAC, it was easy to accept the position. The CAC voted 8-0 for your approval of Christine Chavez's two requests. A, authorization to purchase battery electric buses. And B, your approval to modify the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act. Mary Michael Rollins made a well-done presentation on the possible 2021 One Voice program. CAC voted 8-0 to continue the possibility for this to happen, taking it into consideration COVID-19. It was suggested that at least one member of CAC be given the opportunity to be a delegate. No action was taken concerning this suggestion. Matt Fell presented the local partnership program 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 2021 funds for the Los Baños Pioneer Road. CAC recommended 8-0 for your approval of the funds. On the discussion items, Matt Fell presented discussions the following. Transportation planning and Measure V updates. Questions were asked, how are the funds distributed? For what projects? A member is concerned that outer neighborhoods do not get a fair share of the funds. I think, I said, the quickie wheel gets the oil. And ideas for regional planning studies. If anyone wants to know what studies are approved or pending, to look at the website. I don't remember which site. Your staff is ready to provide assistance to anyone. Overall, the meeting went very well. I am proud of being a member of your current Citizens Advisory Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jose. Merced County Regional Waste Management Authority, item 6, information item.
This, Mr. Chair, is for the board's information only, and we don't need to make a presentation on the information in the packet, but are available if there are any questions as to the status of any of the contracts that we currently have.
Okay, do we have any directors with comments? Seeing none. Item 7, consent calendar.
We have no items on the regional waste consent calendar today.
Item 8, action items.
We also have no action items on the regional waste action item calendar.
Item 9, discussion items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the Executive Director for those clarifications, and good afternoon, Board Directors. Item 9A is an informational item. There are a few things I want to cover on item 9A. Everything I've listed in your packet so that you can have that information readily available. A couple things I'll point out, and then I will talk about one thing that's not included in your packet. The landfill gas energy project is something I want to make you aware of. There are 2 phases to this project. Phase 1 being value engineering. That was authorized by the board for construction manager at risk. The deadline for phase 1 to be completed is at the end of November of this month. So we do expect by the end of November, we would have the construction manager at risk, MOSTEC submittals to complete the phase one, which is the value engineering. The two-phase project, phase one being value engineering, phase two being construction, means that construction for the project will come back in 2021 to this board. Prior to the phase two allotment, staff anticipates bringing to the board a workshop in early 2021. So do be prepared. We plan to have a workshop to discuss phase one and its details with the board fully early 2021. The other thing I wanted to point out was the Senate Bill 1383. I know we've spent a lot of time on this. The governor did sign into law Senate Bill 1383, which makes the bill effective for jurisdictions January 1 of 2022. This then triggers all of those requirements that HF&H has been working with the jurisdictions on: collection, processing, edible food recovery, procurement of compost, ordinances and policies, enforcement and penalties, education and outreach, record keeping and reporting, and of course, what we've been working on, capacity planning. As it relates to capacity planning, HF&H has advised the authority that they think our best option is to do a design, build, operate RFP. So we are currently looking at that, and I'll have more to give to the board to inform you all of that. But basically what that comes out to be is that it's a design, build RFP that would go out and someone would design the project, they would build and construct it, and then they would operate it at our site or sites. So that is something that we will bring to this board when the time is right. What the jurisdictions have been informed of to make sure they're aware of is how can we assist those. So really what will come back to you all is those jurisdictions that will be participating in that facility, we will need to know and have that commitment of those organic materials such that then the RFP can go forward. The final thing I'll mention that is not included in your staff report is that California has issued an RFP for fire debris proposals. Many of you on this board were here when the Detweiler fire had occurred, and RWA benefited greatly through the materials that were brought in at that time. The governing board this board has authorized importation, and so in keeping with that, we are currently receiving hauler requests that are seeking commitment letters from the authority asking for the ability to bring fire debris from the Creek Fire and other California fires to both of our sites. Many of them have asked for the Billy Wright site, but Highway 59 has also been included. And so we're working through that, and that actually just came this week. I thought it was important to make sure that you all knew that. I'll make sure to bring more write-ups and more information to the board in the coming months. We have asked the County of Merced LEA to extend our daily tonnages and in keeping with this. And so we do anticipate that to come. I'd be happy to answer any questions on any of the other topics in the informational packet.
Okay, directors, do you have any questions? Supervisor Silvera.
Thank you, Chair. Can you, Eric, explain a little bit more on SB 68, the Galgiani bill? How is that going to affect us?
Yeah, excellent question. I appreciate that question. So really what we've got is we've got a situation at which the SB 68, which is Galgani, on September 29th of 2020, the Governor Newsom vetoed this. And this basically repealed the sunset date for management and disposal of treated wood waste. In effect, what this means is that treated wood waste beginning the first part of 2021 now must go to a Class 1 landfill, which a Class 1 landfill is a landfill that can accept hazardous waste materials. In effect, what it has done, it has not allowed the sunset to continue, which would make it to where this material could go into Class 2 and Class 3 landfills, which the authorities' landfills are Class 3. It now puts us in a position which the treated wood waste now cannot go to the authority and must go to a Class 1. And the interesting part of this is that the two permitted Class 1 facilities in the state of California, currently only one of them is permitted to take this material. So I believe we're put in a little bit of a pickle. We are asking right now for some variances, some allowances to allow landfills to continue to receive this. We haven't gotten that just yet. We're working with the Department of Toxics and Substance Control. And when I say we, I mean that's everybody in the industry. But right now, landfills, and we're getting ready to do this, we are now going to be informing the public that beginning January 1 of 2021, because of the governor's veto, we can no longer take treated wood waste.
Eric, would you clarify for the board what constitutes treated wood waste?
Yeah, absolutely. So treated wood waste can be anything that is, California Department of Toxic Substance Control defines treated wood waste as wood that has been treated with chemical preservatives. So that's really it. So if you go to your lumber yard, there's a percentage of preservatives that are put in treated wood for lumber to keep it from, chemicals help protect the wood from insect attacks, fungal decay. It's used in fence posts, silt plates, landscape timbers, pilings, guardrails, decking, and grape stakes. I think the most generally called out is grape stakes. One of the big concerns that we've got now is that we're expecting jurisdictions to be really looking at anywhere from $150 to $200 a ton to collect illegal dumping, and that on this type of a material. And if the public's not able to take it to their nearby landfill and they've got to go to a Class 1 site, this presents a big problem.
Thank you, Eric.
Very welcome.
Any other directors have any questions? Seeing none. Item B.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So item 9B comes before you as an informational item. The Merced County Regional Waste Management Authority has filed for a Class 30 categorical exemption under the California Environmental Quality Act for the extension of the Highway 59 landfill gas probes and monitoring well system. The Highway 59 landfill site received a notice of violation from the Merced County Local Enforcement Agency, or LEA, stating that the Highway 59 site was in violation of Title 27 of the California Code of Regulations, Section 20921, subset A2, due to an exceedance of methane gas migration at gas monitoring well number 45. This is a well that's on the eastern portion of the Highway 59 landfill site. In 2017, a remediation strategy was developed by the authority's consultant, Tetra Tech. Based on this strategy and the occurrence of methane detected in gas monitoring well 45, a phased project approach was then implemented to control the landfill gas migration to the east on the site. The current phase project will involve the placement of 3 or more temporary landfill gas probes near and around gas well 45 to identify the extent to which methane has migrated to the east of the Highway 59 landfill site. Information obtained from the temporary probes will be used to inform the new eastern boundary of the landfill and to determine the location of new permanent landfill gas probes. In addition, dependent upon the information collected from the temporary probes, up to 4 permanent landfill gas probes may be necessary within the 110-acre Highway 59 site. A Class 30 categorical exemption is addressed under the California Environmental Quality Act guideline, Section 15330, and is defined as a project that consists of any minor cleanup, actions taken to prevent, minimize, stabilize, mitigate, or eliminate the release or threat of release of a hazardous waste or substance that are small or medium removal actions costing $1 million or less. As demonstrated in the staff report, the project is exempt from the need to conduct environmental review under CEQA pursuant to the provisions of Class 30 categorical exemption. This informational item is to inform the board that this project meets all criteria listed by the respective CEQA guidelines, and its substantial evidence supports the finding that none of the exceptions to the categorical exemptions apply to this project. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Eric. Director, do you have any questions? Seeing none. Transit Joint Powers Authority for Merced County, item 10, information item.
Mr. Chair, this is the Transit Authority's document that shows the status of our board-approved contracts. It's for the board's information and for the public. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Directors, do you have any questions? Seeing none, item 11, consent calendar.
The Transit Joint Powers Authority has no items on the consent calendar.
Item 12, action items.
Christine.
Christine?
Good afternoon, directors. Nice to see you all. I have just a couple slides to help better share the information that I'm going to be presenting. So the item before you today is a two-part. It is authorizing the executive director to execute a contract with New Flyer of America in amount not to exceed $5,562,973 to purchase 5 40-foot low-floor battery electric buses, along with associated depot chargers, options, spare parts, training, and special tools. That's a mouthful, but this is a very exciting project for TJPA. It's one of the first opportunities we've had to move to fully zero emission. So I'm excited to share the details with you. And the second would be authorizing the use of additional LTF capital reserve funding in the amount of $975,000 in the event that the hybrid voucher incentive program grant match funding does not become available prior to invoicing of the vehicles. And I'll go over what that means in just a minute. So just to kind of set up the framework as to how we are going to be approaching the plan to zero emission. The 2021 short range transit plan will be including a plan for TJPA's route to zero emission. The authorization for the short range transit plan should be coming in the coming months, within a quarter, and 50% of all purchases through a mandate through the state, through the air district, is after 2028, agencies our size must purchase 50% of all new purchases as zero emission vehicles. So that can include electric, hydrogen, or some other yet to be developed technology. By 2024, 100% of all new vehicle purchases must be zero emission. So the item before you is our first ever electric buses. The background on it was in June of 2019, TJPA applied for a grant to replace some of our aging vehicles with these battery electric buses. In January of 2020, the funding was awarded and programmed for these 5 vehicles and associated charging depots and parts using FTA 5339 bus and bus facilities funding and a local contribution match. The grant was awarded in the amount of $2 million. Staff has worked with state and local agencies to evaluate the various battery electric bus options available for purchase. There's a long list of all of the requirements that go into us being able to purchase a vehicle using federal dollars, and we've determined that the California General Services bid for electric buses was our best option to move forward with. And so the most competitive vendor is New Flyer. Charging infrastructure, which is actually in the ground, begins when the bus order has been placed. That would happen in our existing operations and maintenance facility, some funding which you guys have already set aside for the project. The bus delivery will take anywhere from 12 to 18 months, with infrastructure construction and bids happening within 3 to 8 months. One of the value added items that New Flyer offered that other agencies didn't was some of the associated engineering for the electric infrastructure is included in the price of the vehicle. And that's for a first time implementation. That's, all that we can ask for is to have them help us build the conduit and the infrastructure that supports the vehicles that they would be delivering to us. So what we're authorizing is a 40-foot long range rapid charge Excelsior bus, battery electric bus. This is New Flyer's latest generation of zero emission battery electric buses. New Flyer has been in the bus building industry for a number of years. They've nearly perfected the bus. We've seen some of the competitors out there are battery manufacturers building buses. And when you have a bus manufacturer building batteries, you tend to see a better result with a bit more of a lasting life. These vehicles are required to be in service for a solid 12 years, at least 12 years. So on table 1 there, you'll see the route simulation that was provided. These vehicles can have anywhere from 170 to 210 miles on a single charge. So the charging for these vehicles is anticipated to happen overnight at the time of vehicle cleaning and fueling. So these vehicles would also be offered with an overhead rail charger at no cost to the agency. So this would future-proof the vehicles a bit more. In the case that we ever acquire property and have on route charging, these vehicles would be ready to go with that overhead charging for additional fuel, additional charging. So this is the breakdown of the cost for the battery electric buses. You'll see the $2 million in FTA funding, the Measure V $500,000 that the TJPA board indicated they would be interested in if awarded. You'll see an item on that later on this agenda. The hybrid voucher incentive program, which is only available through manufacturers. There's currently not any funding available, but the way to take advantage of it is for it to be available at the time of being invoiced for the buses. And so that's the need for the second action item today, is in the case that it is not available, we would be able to backfill that with some of our existing capital reserve. Some of the local state or the state money, STA and SB1, fiscal year 1920 has been programmed for these vehicles. The LTF capital reserve in the amount of $792,460, and state of good repair funding, 2 years worth of allocations at $795,313 for a total of $5,562,973. So the fiscal impact, the funds used to purchase these vehicles have been budgeted. There are various allocations that have been previously approved and are available for expenditure in the 2021 fiscal year. And so this is the action requested, and I will take any questions that you might have before taking action.
Director Murphy?
Thank you, Christine. So I noted in the report that these are the first all electric buses for us. I know at the City of Merced, we have a housing project that we have implemented an all electric bus into the fleet. Is this in addition to that? Does that make 6 buses, or is that one from the Merced Housing Project one of these 5?
The one for the Merced Housing Project, we are working with the city to get a formal agreement for that because the funds are not currently in our name. We do have an additional grant that we were awarded just a few months ago, and CTC actually took action in October to formalize the award. That was for the transit, the TIRCP, the Transit Intercity Rail Cooperative Program. So we have 3 buses there, and then with the City of Merced, we have 4 additional buses. So these 5 are separate from those 4, which are the 3 TIRCP plus the 1 Merced, if that makes sense. So the goal was to get these buses authorized and get the infrastructure going. And once we've identified, the ability to move forward with the other vehicles, we would bring that back to the governing board in ideally Q1 of 2021. Some of the infrastructure for the charging depots is going to be inclusive of future build. It's not going to be wholly inclusive to where we have enough for 78 vehicles to be electric. Initially, staff's recommending that we move forward with 20 vehicle infrastructure building so that we can determine whether that's the direction that we want to head, depending on how the performance of these vehicles turn out. If legislation changes or what that looks like, all of which will be brought back at a later date.
So, I think we're all in favor of the environmental benefits of electric buses, and I imagine others have the same sticker shock that I do with these pieces of equipment. What's the cost of a bus if it weren't all electric? Looks like these are about 1.1 million each, right? On average, anyway.
Yeah, these include the charging depots, and so The caveat with electric buses is that all of the costs are upfront with electric. So you have, the charging depots and the conduit and all of the specialized tools that you have to work on the electric buses. But these vehicles, over the life of their own vehicle, you will not have as many expenditures. There's not as many liquids flowing through the vehicle. There's not a hard motor that you have to maintain and repair. And so preventative maintenance is significantly less expensive with electric buses, as is, we're not paying for fuel. We're not paying for the upkeep of our station, of our dispensers. And so with electric buses, you tend to see that cost savings up front. I mean, you tend to see it over the life of the vehicle when you're paying for more upfront. And this is $2 million of this is paid for by a competitive grant that the agency was awarded.
Christine, how much is the?
Yeah, what's the cost of a bus? What's the cost of
like a gas house?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Director Murphy, the cost of, if we were going to replace a similar bus that's diesel, would be around $700,000.
Thank you, Nav.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was looking. We have another item here today. The next item is actually the purchase of 7 clean diesel buses. And that range is about where they fall, 700.
About 700. Okay, thank you.
Any other directors have questions?
Thank you, Chair. Christine, I guess it's really nice that they threw in the overhead rail chargers. I kind of thought that was interesting as I was reading through the staff report. But I mean, what is the likelihood that we're going to be? I mean, so and correct me if I'm wrong. Is that just like it would be? You have an overhead charging station somewhere along the way that they just pull in and get a little quick charge, or is that more like where you go into some of these places where the buses are connected to a grid of overhead wires that are running all over the city?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I want to go back to this route simulation. So because Merced County has such a large landmass, if we go fully electric today, these would be the only routes that we can run electric buses on, because the range does not exist to provide a full day's worth of service. And so an electric bus would only be able to perform, say, 2/3 or half of an actual run for a bus. And so the overhead railing would allow for so say at the Merced Transpo, if we were able to install overhead charging there, when it's on a layover, it would be able to charge. And so it wouldn't be like your old cable cars in San Francisco. That was old generation electric, but this new generation electric would have just some really simple, let's see, I actually have an image of it. Some really simple rapid charge rails over the top. And you can see they're just here. So they just come over, there's a big overhead charger that would then just magnetize down to the vehicle. The driver would have some sort of control along the driver dash that would say, connect or disconnect. And then they would be able to just pull in, it would drop down, charge, give it maybe another 15 minutes of energy, and then it would continue on route at the layover. Or you can create schedules so that there's a longer layover with that. But yeah,
that explains that well, because I was thinking more like the old system, and I'm like, well, we're a long ways from that.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, any other directors have any questions? Yeah, I'll open up to public comment.
I see no hands raised.
Okay, we'll give it a second and then close the public comment, bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Chair, this is Silvera, second.
Who was the motion maker?
Laura.
Laura and Silvera, okay.
Joy? Joy, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, sorry, it wouldn't let me
I
unmute.
was about ready to
Yes,
do
I'll
it.
continue with motion. Yeah. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hoag,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
Daniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira, I'm sorry, Director Pereira,
He had to step away.
Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Item 13, discussion items. Wait, item C, right?
B.
B.
12B.
Okay, jumping too far ahead there. Item 12, action item B. Christine?
So the item before you is also to do with vehicle acquisition and the use of the CARES Act funding. I'm going to try and go through this, and Stacy, feel free to jump in if I misspeak on anything or if I am speaking too technically, so I apologize in advance. So in April 2020, as you recall, we received some Federal Transit Administration 5307 Coronavirus Aid Relief Economic Security Act, commonly known as CARES Act, in the amount of $10,183,000, or 10.183, to respond to COVID. In the past few weeks, we've had to reduce service due to shortage of staffing, our aging fleet. It just became unsustainable to maintain. We've identified the need to expedite some of the capital purchases that were previously approved by this board. The vehicles that we're looking to purchase are able to be shifted using the local funding to use some federal apportioned funding for CARES Act. So these vehicles would expedite the purchase that we had planned and would provide for additional social distancing on board. In the amount of $3.6 million, we would be able to shift CARES Act from local funding to, we would shift local funding to CARES Act, offsetting and saving the funding for additional capital needs. The shifting of the funds from operation to capital require a formal programming into the FTIP, which would also include the purchase of 2 service trucks and the additional contribution to the administration office enhancements and the budget for that project. So shifting funds from local capital reserve to the federal allocation would provide for more funding availability for future needs. So just to clarify, this is to expedite the purchase of the capital equipment, which has previously been approved in April of 2020, when it was authorized to purchase the 7 large vehicles and the 4 smaller cutaways. And we would be advancing that from 2021-22 to 2021. So the funding would be advanced accordingly in the budget. And in order to offset that deficit that we're pulling from the operating funds, we would be backfilling it with our annual apportionment of FTA 5307 that we were able to offset with the CARES Act relief funding that we received earlier this year. So the item before you includes these 2 actions: adopting resolution authorizing staff to modify the CARES Act application to include the purchase of 11 buses and reclassify the purchase of 2 utility trucks and transit administration building remodel projects from operating to capital. Also, amending the budget for 2021 by moving $3.6 million in CARES Act operating fund to the capital budget for fiscal year 2021 and adding a line item for the purchase of 7 clean diesel buses because they were programmed for next year. But backfilling the operating budget with $3.6 million in fiscal year 1920 FTA 5307 and moving 3.6 of local funding from the fiscal year 2021 capital budget to the capital reserve. And with that, I'll take any questions or discussion.
Thank you, Christine. I think this has to be the longest action item request in terms of the number of components in the action. And I think Christine did a really great job outlining it all. In short, you know, we're basically needing to make the budgetary changes to move the federal CARES Act money into the appropriate capital category so that we can use it to purchase these buses, which means that we don't have to use the local funds that the board had originally approved us to use for these buses earlier this year. So that money will be returned to the capital reserve account for future needs.
Okay, directors, you have any questions? Can you scroll down?
Mr. Chair, I do have a question.
Director McDaniel?
So, so this is an appropriate way to move these CARES Act dollars, because I know with us in the cities and the county, if we move some of these, if we don't use them the way we intended to use them, at the end of the year, as we lose them, we have to give them back to the federal government. So is this not the same case?
Director, I'll take a stab at it. Director McDaniel, that is correct. If we don't program this funding, by the end of the year, we'll have to give it back to the Fed. So what we decided is you program it for capital instead of operating, and then use our last year's allocation of FTA for operation for this year.
Oh, okay.
So we don't lose the funding. And
I understand what you're saying now. Okay, yep. Thank you very much. Thanks, Nav.
No worries.
Okay, any other directors? Okay, at this time, I'll open up to public comment. Joy, do we have any?
I don't see any hands raised, Mr. Chair.
Is that Mary? Okay. Yep. Okay, board, what's your pleasure?
Chair, this is Director Silvera. Motion to approve the two items as presented on the screen.
Second, Lohr.
Motion by Silvera, second by Lohr.
Thank you. I'll do roll call. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Espinoza, yes.
Director Hogue,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira, Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Item 12, action item C. Christine.
Thank you so much. I'm actually going to turn this over to Mauricio Torres. He was the staff person that helped with development of this plan for a presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon, members of the board. FTA published the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan Rule on July of 2018, requiring certain transit operators, public transportation systems that receive federal funds under the FTA's Urbanized Area Formula Grants to develop a safety plan that includes processes and procedures to implement a safety management system. So this rule applies to TJPA because we are a direct recipient of federal funds under the Urbanized Area Formula Program. So the rule became effective in July of 2019. The plan must be signed by the executive director and approved by the board of directors. We must certify that we have a safety plan in place meeting the requirements of the rule by December 31st of 2020. This plan must be updated and certified annually. So you'll see us again next year. FTA has adopted the principles and methods of safety management systems as a basis for enhancing the safety of public transportation in the United States. We use those methods to develop those safety goals that were included in the plan that's in your package. So we ask that you adopt a resolution approving our safety plan so that we can be in compliance before the deadline. If you guys have any questions regarding the plan, I'd be happy to answer them.
Hey, directors, do we have anybody who has a question? Seeing none, we'll open it up to public comment.
I don't see any
Seeing
hands
none.
raised.
Thank you. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment, bring it back to the board for direction. Directors?
Director Laura, move to approve.
Second by Aguilar.
Laura and Aguilar?
Thank you. I'll do roll call now. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hogue,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira, Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Item 13, discussion items. Christine? Or Joy?
Thank you. Just briefly wanted to update you, ridership was in the agenda packet. We have resumed full service. We have started the installation of our driver compartments to keep our drivers safe as passengers board. We're preparing to set up procedures to safely begin collecting fares when the time is appropriate. We're looking to some of our fellow transit agencies in the Valley to determine where they are with everything. Transit centers continue to be closed across the Valley, opening them only for the use of the restrooms or ticket sales if they are charging fares. We were awarded, as I mentioned in the previous item, by the California Transportation Commission, our Transit Intercity Rail Capital Project for 3 electric buses. And then we do have the one coming from the city of Merced as well with one of their developments. And then microtransit, we're looking to enter into an agreement for a pilot program of microtransit to focus on the west side circulation in some of our harder to reach, harder to provide transit service areas. If anyone has any questions, I can take them.
Directors, you have any questions? Seeing none, you can go to the next item.
Yes, thank you. So before you is the TJPA surplus property policy. We wanted to bring it to you as an informational item, just for review, if there was any discussion before we bring it back for action. With the approval that you just provided for the acquisition of the vehicles, while we still have some time before they arrive on property, we wanted to just be prepared for the disposal of some of our aged vehicles with their end of their useful life. So in short, the policy provides for the donation of our capital to each of your member agencies. And then if there are no willing takers, then we're willing to either sell, donate, or dispose of the vehicles in that order and in compliance with the Federal Transportation Administration guidelines.
Okay, directors, you have any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Merced County Association of Governments, item 14, information item.
Mr. Chair, these items are on the agenda for the board and the public's review, and we'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Directors, you have any questions at this time?
I have one question, Chair. This is Silvera.
Go ahead.
Mav, I think it's in this section, specifically on the check register for the Regional Waste Authority. Just maybe for future reference, is like a lot of these items on there that under the description, it just shows them as cash. And maybe, and I like, if you look at on page 125, like you have the landfill closure fund as the description, just maybe like a 1-2 word brief description. Cause like, you know, and obviously they put theirs in numerical order and not in date order. But you see like a lot of money going out to Taylor Backhoe to the tune of, I'm going to call it close to $500,000. It would be nice to have a little bit of a description there.
Will do. We'll put a description of what project it is and what the payment is for.
Perfect. No, but I just want to commend you guys on the detail. I know I don't read every one of these, but I go through and it just kind of, I like to be able to especially go and see in there when I know that we're using local businesses as part of our, you know, companies that we're using. So thank you for the detailed information. That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other directors? See none. Thank you, Neff. Item 15, consent calendar.
Mr. Chair, the board, we would entertain a vote for all items A through I, but of course would be willing to answer any questions or pull any items if there are any further discussion needed.
Any directors have any questions? Any members of the public have any questions, Boy or Mary?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, direction board.
Laura moved to approve 15A through I.
McDaniel, second.
Motion by Laura, second by McDaniel.
Thank you. I'll do roll call. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hogue,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira, Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta, I'm sorry, Director Villalta, Chair Creighton,
Yes.
thank you. Motion carries.
Joy, we do have Director Pereira. He's back on and now he should be able to unmute himself.
Wonderful. We're doing roll call for item number 15, A through I. What is your pleasure? Director Pereira?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Item 16, action items. Mary?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Mary Michael Rawling, your Public Affairs Manager. The action item before you today is pursuant to the board's direction back in September, and we are asking for the board to formally adopt the goals and schedule for the 2021 One Voice program, which includes the initiation of the call for nominations of delegates from the member jurisdictions, as well as submission of local projects, policies from the member agencies as well. We have executed the 1-year option for Townsend Public Affairs, so they continue to be our lobbyist in support of this program. And you will note that the goals are exactly the same as they have been the last couple of years, asking that all the cities and county appoint 2 to 3 members per jurisdiction to participate in the delegation and the development of the One Voice platform, which will come before the board for adoption in March, with the trip scheduled for May. I will just point out the second goal, which is the same, but just making sure that as the member jurisdictions start to gather their policy priorities, to remember to make a very clear connection between what they are and federal funding or programs or policies. I was on a virtual conference earlier this week with a panel of federal lobbyists that were very clear that if we do go to DC, and they were talking obviously to a room full of people, not just us, but not to have general asks, to be very, very specific about what the ask was, how it pertained to a federal program or funding source, and specifically what we wanted to see the solution to be. So just keep that in mind as you're putting all of those together. The schedule continues to be tight. We are looking for nominations from all the jurisdictions by the end of the calendar year, which will be quick for folks that are onboarding new members of those boards and councils. And we are looking for policy priorities before the Christmas holiday break. And that's because we meet first thing in January as a delegation, and we only have 2, maybe 3 meetings together as a group before we have to finalize a platform. So we move very quickly once January comes, and that will be here in just about 6 weeks. So we don't really have much time. Just as a reminder, this program is paid for by member fees, and the delegate agreement is in the packet for your review, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Okay, this time, any members of the board have any questions? Can you scroll down? Seeing none, we'll open it up to the public. Maybe members of the public? No hands raised.
Doesn't look like it.
Directors, what's your pleasure?
Chair, this is Director Silvera. A motion to approve or adopt the proposed 2021 One Voice program goals and scheduling.
Second, Olivera.
Motion by Silvera, second by Olivera.
Wait, you're still muted.
Sorry about that. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hogue,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira,
I vote aye.
Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item 16, action item B, Matt Fell.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Let me share my screen. We'll do this one. The item before you is a request to amend the Measure B implementation plan. So you may recall that this is updated every 2 years. And the next update is scheduled to occur next year by next fall. So we're basically mid-cycle. And there were 2 requests received on the west side from County and City of Gustine for the Henry Miller Road Rehabilitation Project and for the Roundabout Project in Gustine, respectively. Both those projects are already in the implementation plan. Henry Miller, already underway and getting close to completion with the funding that they had been allotted, and both those projects asking for more funds so that they can do their projects, finish their projects. Capacity does exist in the West Side Fund. As of June 30th, there's about almost $3 million that's over what was projected and programmed. So you may recall the way that the projection was done was somewhat conservative because we had just started Measure B. Now we have a few years under our belt and we're seeing revenues coming in more than what that was. So we've accumulated an overage or capacity. And that's something that will definitely be discussed as the next implementation plan update is prepared on both the west and the east side. The West Side Regional Projects Committee did meet on October 1st, and they recommended that you approve adding these funding amounts to these two projects and amend the implementation plan accordingly. And if you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer those.
Director, do you have any questions? Seeing none, we'll open it up for public comment. Do you have any members of the public? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the directors. What's your pleasure?
Chair, this is Director Silvera. Motion to approve item 16A, or excuse me, 16B.
Daniel, second.
Motion by Severa, second by McDaniel.
Thank you. I'll do roll call. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Aye.
Director Hoag,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
Daniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira,
Aye.
Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Item 16, action item C. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This item is related to the electric bus purchase earlier. So MCAG board and TJPA board have taken actions and demonstrated the intent of this funding for the electric bus. But to actually take the allocation action per the expenditure plan is basically what this is. Per the expenditure plan, MCAG board is the decision maker for the funds and allocates the funding. So this would be fully aligning the board's intent so that if anybody needs to look back and see, you know, when did MCAG approve the $500,000 for the electric bus? If you take this action, here it would be. So if you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer that.
Director, do you have any questions? Seeing none, we'll open up to public comment. Do we have any members of the public? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Lohr, move to approve.
Pereira, second.
Motion by Lohr, second by Pereira.
Thank you. I'll do roll. Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hoag,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy, I'm sorry, Director Murphy.
Yes.
Thank you. Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira,
Aye.
Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item 16, action item D.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I will go ahead and share. I have a couple slides on this one. That's right here. So for 16D, the requested action is authorizing a memorandum MOU between the 8 counties of the San Joaquin Valley, the 8 member agencies, of the Regional Early Action Plan Committee for Housing. And so when AB 101 passed in 2019, that was part of the governor's emphasis on housing planning and getting more housing into production. And so that provided $250 million. About half of that went to that LEAP program, which went to cities and counties. And just a quick reminder, that deadline is coming up January 31st. And I believe there's 2 jurisdictions that have not completed those applications. And I believe they're setting up a workshop where HCD will be available to help. So I'll send out information. We'll send out some more information about that. And then the other half is this REAP money went to regional entities, including $19 million to the San Joaquin Valley Working Group. 3 elected officials from each county. For Merced County, those are Directors Pereira, Hogue, and Villalta. And they have met and they chose Fresno COG to be the fiscal agent. And they also did these first 2 pieces. That $5.4 million would go to valley-wide effort. So there's like a valley-wide housing need study and a couple other things to look at a variety of things. So like North Valley, we have growth pressures from outside. And then throughout the valley, there's, a difference of issues in urban, suburban, rural, so all that sort of thing. And then the $4.7 million was divided by population to the 8 COGs. And that's what this MOU concerns, is 310,000 of that comes to this board. And there will be a forthcoming amount of $8.7 million also goes to the 8 COGs by some fashion. And I think the math on that is that if that was to just be passed through by formula, that would be about another 500 and something thousand. But this particular MOU is talking about 300,000. And then we did have a good discussion yesterday at the Technical Review Board. So one of the things that definitely jumps to my mind is regional housing needs allocation. This board has to do that per state law, and it'll be due coming up in a couple of years. And in the past, we never got money to fund that, and we couldn't use our federal planning money to do that. So it always had to be a bare bones process. But now this money can be used for that. So that's something that I think would be a good use of that, and we'll be coming back to you. But also the jurisdictions wanted to talk more about what some of the needs might be. So we're going to work with the jurisdictions and identify what some of those housing planning support needs might be, and possibly what sort of process or could be used to make that decision. And we will be talking about what some of the other folks are doing, because there's a variety of approaches throughout the valley on what to do with the money. So at this time, all the action is just approving the MOU, but I wanted to let you know that this will be coming back for a future decision on how to use these $310,000. And if you had any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Directors, you have any questions of Matt?
Motion to approve, Villalta.
Second, Oliveira.
Motion by Villalta, second by Oliveira. We need to open that to public. Yeah, could we open that before we call for that, Joy? Let me open that up to the public real quick. Any members of the public have any comment? Seeing none. Go ahead, Joy.
Thank you. Director Aguilar?
Yes.
Director Espinoza?
Yes.
Director Hogue?
Yes.
Director Lohr?
Yes.
Director McDaniel?
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy?
Yes.
Director Oliveira?
Aye.
Director Pereira?
Aye.
Director Silvera?
Aye.
Director Villalta?
Yes.
Chair Creighton?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Item 16, action item E. Stacy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the board, this is a continued discussion item that, well, it's action, but it was continued from a discussion that occurred last month when the several members of the board had expressed interest in exploring our options to be able to return to in-person board meetings. So in the last few weeks since our meeting last month, Mary Michael and her team have been exploring and have visited and met with jurisdiction staff at several council chambers, community centers, and the county facilities to identify what these potential meeting venues could be, specifically looking at how a board of our size could facilitate a public meeting that would be compliant with the latest, the current COVID mitigation guidances. So in your board packet on page 247, there is an analysis of that that research, and I can turn it over to Mary Michael to summarize what we found.
Mary?
Thanks, Stacy. And I pulled that up on the screen so everyone can see. So the brief summary is there's really not one perfect place to conduct in-person governing board meetings. So I'm just going to kind of highlight the pros and some challenges of some different venues. Ultimately, we need a location if every single board member is going to be present with 15 microphones, and there is not currently any facility that has that right now. If the board does want to meet in person with no board members participating virtually, the city council chambers of the city of Merced would probably be the best equipped to handle that. The only caveat would be we would need to seat board members in the front row of the audience, and there would have to be some sharing of microphones. We could have board members participate virtually there, but their staff kind of noted the challenge of doing that and having to manually flip back and forth between a Zoom connection and presentations, and that it would be difficult, if not impossible, for board members to participate while, for example, a PowerPoint presentation was being shared or presented by staff. They'd have to wait till the presentation was over, flip back to the Zoom channel, and then allow that board member to ask questions. So that could potentially be logistically challenging if there was board members participating virtually from that location. The City of Merced Sandpipes room we also looked at, there was even fewer microphones available. They could use their town hall system, but just the setup of the room I think would be challenging with fewer places for public and staff to sit and having them have to walk in front of the board. If we decided to go with the city, I would definitely recommend the council chambers above Sandpipes room. If we did have a subset of board members that really felt strongly about participating virtually, I would recommend the county board chambers facility. And I should stop and say both the city council chambers and the board room have wonderful equipment already set up, and their staff could record the meetings for us as they typically do when the board has met in person there in the past. Their city staff records, sends us the recording, and then we post it as MCAG staff onto our website. But the county board chambers has limited mics as well and limited seating for in-person. So if we did have 3 to 4, maybe 5 board members that were committed to participating virtually, they do have a great setup for participating by Zoom. That is easy, and Director Silvera, I know, could speak to that as he's done that recently, just in a Board of Supervisors meeting. And there's plenty of meeting space for the public. Los Banos staff indicated that their council chambers could not accommodate a board of our size, spaced out appropriately. However, the community center could, but it is not outfitted currently with any type of equipment. So we would have to use the MCAG equipment, which is adequate for the smaller spaces that we had been using it previously for, namely the Gustina Dos Palos council chambers, but spread out in such a large space, I really don't have a lot of confidence that we'd get a recording of high quality. It's possible, but both in that community center as well as the Atwater Community Center, we would be challenged with that, as well as having to bring projectors and screens or project on a wall. And, I'm sure you can imagine just the challenges. It's not impossible, but it's not as ideal as utilizing perhaps the county or city's facility. The Atwater Community Center is probably the better space in terms of a big open building. It is not currently outfitted with any equipment. However, in discussion with their IT department, they felt confident that they could equip it for us and record the equipment and record the meeting. And then of course, there's plenty of space for the board to spread out for public to participate in person, but no virtual participation would be available in both that or the Los Banos Community Center. So I'll stop there. Those are kind of the highlights. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, directors, you have any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, McDaniel has a question.
Go ahead.
Hey, I had mentioned at our last meeting, the Merced County Behavioral Health Conference Center, which is a brand new conference center that's very large and accommodating. Did you guys not have a chance to go check that facility out?
We have not yet, but we certainly could.
Yeah, because I mean, it's large, it's very modern, and it has all kinds of amenities. I was kind of looking forward to maybe if that could work.
We could certainly bring that back for discussion at the next meeting and bring that information back to the board if you'd like.
Okay, thanks.
Any other directors?
So, Mr. Chair, at this time, we are seeking board direction. I will say, I know that the current environment continues to change with the COVID situation. My recommendation or request to the board would be to consider that we continue in a virtual setting and reassess in January, both in the current situation of the pandemic and also with our new board that will be meeting for the first time in January to then seek the board's direction at that time. But of course, if the board is interested in looking at meeting in person before then, we can make those arrangements.
Okay, let me see if any members of the public have any comments. I'll bring it back to the board after that. No members of the public, so we'll close public comment and bring it back to the directors. You guys have any more questions of Ms. Rawlings? Direction from the board.
Mr. Chair, I'll move by the recommendation of Director or our Executive Director Guzman.
Espinoza, second.
Motion by McDaniel, second by Espinoza.
Thank you. I'll do roll. Director Aguilar. I'm sorry, Director Aguilar.
Yes.
Director Espinoza.
Yes.
Director Hogue.
Yes.
Director Lohr.
Yes.
Director McDaniel.
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy.
Yes.
Director Oliveira.
Aye.
Director Pereira. Director Silvera.
Aye.
Director Villalta.
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, I'll be right with you, Alex.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Item 16, action item F. Stacy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This does not have a staff presentation. It is, though, a proposal for the board to consider the cancellation of the December meetings. This was an idea. Many of our colleagues up and down the valley go dark, as they say, for the month of December. We have traditionally had our open house at that time. In the current environment, we have not planned for our open house, and we have been able to work with our existing items between November and January to have a level of confidence that that if we were to not have a December meeting, that it wouldn't have a ripple effect or any real repercussions to our productivity. So we did make this proposal. I indicated the same to the TRB, and they expressed no objection. So it is a proposal staff proposing to the board, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns you might have.
Directors, do you have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I was just thinking that why can't we just do it virtually and have cocktails while we're doing it? This is the only time we all get to hang out together is by Zoom. But
I
no,
second that.
I understand the recommendation, and I totally understand that. But like I say, this is our only way to socialize. So we could still have a Christmas party. We'll just do it on Zoom.
Nice. Any other directors have a comment? We'll open up to the public at this time. Do we have any members of the public? Seeing no members of the public, we'll bring it back to the board for direction.
Mr. Chair, I'll
motion by Espinoza. Was that second by McDaniel?
Yeah, I'll do second.
Okay, second by McDaniel.
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hoag,
Yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira, Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Item 16, action item G. Stacy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is, I brought to this board after a conversation and a proposal that came before the 8 councils of government in the San Joaquin Valley. We have a COG Directors Committee that meets monthly. And the COG Directors Committee has been asked to take the lead on a lead role in applying for a Sustainable Communities grant to conduct phase 2 feasibility study for the California Inland Port Project. And we're seeking the board's direction on whether or not to participate in this regional effort. So this has transpired rather quickly. On the 12th of November, the Valley COG directors that it's myself and my 7 counterparts in the Valley we met with Pete Weber and Adam Wasserman with California Forward and GLD Partners respectively. And they shared with us the progress they'd been making on a California Inland Port project. From what I understand, the initial phase 1 of this project was involved the County of Merced, Madera County, Fresno County, the City of Fresno, the Port of Los Angeles, the Port of Long Beach, and the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. And the study reviewed the underlying viability of establishing a port to Central Valley Bay Area intermodal rail system, which is in part to replace the movement of goods from trucks on our highways onto rail. So the long and short of it is that now that they're wanting to drill down onto phase 2, looking at the feasibility of having potentially 2 inland ports in the San Joaquin Valley greater region. They're coming to the Valley COGs to be the lead on that grant application from the state. And I will be meeting with my counterparts tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And I had asked for that delay in a vote to do this regionally so that I would be able to have the time to bring this item to the board to participate. So if the participating COGs that will support this project would be expected to make a financial contribution. The estimated match for the grant is about $80,000. So if all 8 COGs participated, I would not foresee that being more than a $10,000 contribution. Could be less if the COG directors decided to make that based on population rather than equal share.
Okay, directors, do you have any comments or questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is McDaniel. I do.
Go ahead.
So I'm very familiar with this group. I think a lot of you have been paying attention. So Merced County's invested a lot of money with this group, GLD Partners, who have never delivered on what we have paid for. Since we introduced it to Pete Weber and actually Ashley Swearingen and California Forward, we brought them in to help us with Castle project. Since we have no longer contracting with GLD partners, they have taken our project and tried to shop it around, in which Pete Weber and Ashley Swearigan and California Forward has taken it and trying to take the project away from Merced County. I will say that Wasserman is very good at shopping for where the money is. He got Merced County for money. He went to the Air Board, shopped it there, got the money, and Merced County pitched in $10,000 during that time, and yet they are still shopping. I don't know how many studies you have to do. We've already partnered with Burlington Northern. They have not secured any. They like to say that they've talked to the railroad, but we know where Burlington Northern is on it. They're working with Merced County directly. We also know where UP is. Union Pacific does not have an interest. It doesn't fit in their business plan. So at the same time, I would urge my colleagues not to support this. I will be making phone calls, not the discussions I've already had with other COGs throughout. We do know that they have supported Merced County from Kern all the way to San Joaquin County on our project that we're trying to do here. We did establish that Shafter and Merced are the two key points for an inland port to serve all of San Joaquin Valley. And I don't know why they continue to go for the money that's there so they can profit on doing another study. This is just a rotten example of consultants taking money from the state when they see it available with nothing in return. So I urge my colleagues not to vote for this or to vote negative for it. Thank you.
Thank you, McDaniel. Any other directors have comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll bring it to the public comment. Any members of the public? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for direction.
Mr. Chair, this is McDaniel. I motion not to support.
Silvera, second.
I have a motion by McDaniel not to support, second by Silvera. Joy?
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Espinoza,
Yes.
Director Hoag,
We're voting not to support, yes?
correct.
Okay, yes.
Director Lohr,
Yes.
Director McDaniel,
McDaniel, aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Oliveira,
Aye.
Director Pereira, Director Silvera,
Aye.
Director Villalta,
Yes.
Chair Creighton.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 17, discussion items. Caltrans?
We have Tom Dumas on the line, I hope, still.
Tom, you there?
I'm trying to be. Can you hear me?
Awesome.
All right, got a let's go. I'm on then, good. Hope everybody's doing well. I'll try to make this brief. We have in District 10 an active transportation plan that we're developing, and it's covering the entire district. It's to create a district level plan to identify and evaluate locations based on needs or that are near the state highway system, need additional things. The study is going to be the emphasis on gathering and reconnecting communities, identifying places where people walk or bicycle and use transit, and trying to improve those and figure out future plans for that. They have an outreach already started, and they're hoping to complete that plan by February. Hopefully, we'll have something we can share with you then that will bring some more improvements to the area. We're also working on district climate change adaptation priorities report. Say that with a mouthful of marbles, and good luck. But we have the plan that's going to be looking at going through and prioritizing the areas that are at risk for climate change impacts. And we've done a preliminary public circulation is planned on starting in December. and hopefully that plan will be done soon. They'll be looking at all of the assets we have and trying to figure out basically which ones are the most vulnerable and need more improvement. We've resumed our litter cleanup, and we're partnering with CHP to be a little more stringent on enforcing the laws. You know, during the first part of the COVID, we had to cut back on a lot of things, the homeless encampment cleanups and just litter cleanup in particular. But we started ramping that up again, so hopefully you'll see those improvements soon. One of the first things in the state is up in San Joaquin County on Highway 120 that crosses over. We are have opened up a diverging diamond interchange on Highway 120. It's a new design for the state. It's been used in other areas, but it is completely different than our standard interchanges. So the next time you're up that way, you might want to drive across just to take a look at it. You actually have the traffic crossing over each other, so it'll actually reduces the number of conflict points for head-on collisions and side swipes. So it's a much safer design, and we're hoping to see those improvements as it stays open longer. And we also have one other thing. Each year, Caltrans highlights the best of its work and the best of its partners through the annual Caltrans Excellence for Transportation Awards. And this year, District 10, we're going to pat ourselves on the back here because we have received an award for our Prepare program. That is the program we designed up in 140 to use weather decision tiers, where we look at weather fronts coming in, storm fronts, and taking into account the soils from the burn areas and the scars to determine when it's hazard, and then we shut down the roads in advance of these weather changes that are coming through that would have such a negative impact, and making it more safe so we don't have people traveling through those areas during times they could be caught by slides and such. And the program's been very successful. We've gone through last year and had no fatalities or no incidents from it, and the state, it was recognized as an excellent award. So it's cutting edge for us because it really is looking at things in advance and trying to stop things from happening as opposed to correcting something after it has. So, but anyway, that's it. I just want to wish you all a happy holidays, and if I don't speak to you again before Christmas and New Year's, have a happy one. And any questions from the board?
Any members of the board have any questions for Tom?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yeah, Tom, this is Supervisor McDaniel. I know you've been here on the meeting, and you heard my comments on 16G. I just want to let you know that is a Caltrans grant, and we are already moving forward with that project. And I just want you to know, as it comes across your desk, that this is a money grab by this group. And I just want you to please pass it on to the rest of the Caltrans group who, by no means are we trying to defer money, that we're not trying to get trucks off the road, but that's our total project. So if you could pass that on, I'd much appreciate it. Thanks.
I will try to figure out the politically correct way to say that we are not fully supportive of it out of Merced County. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other directors?
Yes.
Espinoza?
Go ahead, Rod.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hey, Tom. Yeah, well, hopefully 2021 will be a lot better for my district in Granada. I know that I've been in the past all 4 years. I fought for that light in Granada, and hopefully we can get that complete signal in Granada over there. So hopefully, with your support, appreciate it. We get that done within the next year. Thank you.
I will do my best to push that along, sir.
Director Pereira?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Tom, I got a call this afternoon from a resident in Hillmar. And so Caltrans, paved 165 through the community. But what happened in a couple of instances is that the crosswalks in front of the schools
Mhm.
The little flashing lights that are embedded in the roadway are now in little canyons or little pockets. And so you can't see them until you get right close to them. And so the community is asking if we could, if I could, bring that issue up to you and if we might be able to raise those flashing beacons.
I don't know exactly how they would handle that. It might be that they'd have to grind on each side to make them less buried.
Oh,
But I will bring that up to maintenance and have them see if they can address that for you. I understand what you're saying. I'm just not an engineer who can figure that out without tearing up the whole road. But
I'm with you. I'm with
maybe
you.
they can figure it out.
Yep. Okay. And then also, and I don't know who follows up the paving, but I've also gotten a couple of comments from people that said that the paving job is really rough. But I'm not sure if, exactly what they mean. So I don't know if Caltrans has a crew that goes through after paving is done and inspects it. But just if you could raise that up to them and so they could take a look at it.
Did they have any particular areas where they said, or just generally they didn't like what was done?
Well, they just said that in Hilmar, so that would be between, most likely between American and Gear.
Okay. I'll have them look
Somebody
there.
drives it, it's not that far to figure it out. And,
Yeah. I was just wondering if there was a particular corner or something like that that someone was talking about, or if just the whole road in particular, they thought it was louder or something. But
yeah,
I'll check.
honestly, unfortunately, I can't get, if you want me to go out there and drive it, I can do that.
No, that's not necessary. But we'll find out what's going on.
But the flashers, that's the safety issue right away.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other directors? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Item 17, discussion item B, Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Just to let you know that we are continuing to work on a couple of major projects. So as mentioned before, the short range transit plan should be coming to you for authorization next year now, since there won't be a December meeting. And then the unmet transit needs report. So we did have those hearings and we did receive some comments. And so that report and recommendation will be coming to you as well. And then also the Federal Transportation Improvement Program, which is due by early next year. So staff's working hard on that. And it looks like we're going to be releasing that to the public sometime in the next month, I hope. But we are waiting on some things, especially when the feds come in at the last moment and give us a couple more things to do. So we're figuring it out, and we're going to get that out possibly in December, maybe right at the end of this month. And then you'll see that for action next year. That's basically my updates. If you have any questions on any of the planning things, I'd be happy to take those.
Matt, directors, do you have any questions of Matt? I see none. Thank you, Matt. Item 17, discussion item C. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I think I'll just share the staff report. So we are already starting to think about next year's budget. So we always start thinking about that around this time. And in this case, I think I'm just going to scroll down here. So the federal government wants Caltrans to tell all of us that our federal planning money, they don't want us to accumulate as much. So we kind of have to spend down maybe a bit more than we might otherwise have, because we tend to accumulate funds for our big projects like our regional transportation plan. And that requires accumulating a pretty sizable carryover balance. So they want us to do that, but we're also looking at all of the things that the federal planning dollars can be used for. And we often come out and ask for ideas. So we did ask TRB yesterday, and if you have any ideas, and there's not necessarily a time limit on this, because we'll be bringing that draft in, I think it's February, for the next overall work program for planning. But just some of the ideas of studies that have been done by others or things that we've done in the past, including active transportation plans, so a regional plan, So we just did the pavement management system data collection, but there has been some interest expressed in maybe updating the software. So Ty's talking to the jurisdiction staff about that. Yesterday, they talked about, the city managers talked about the transportation modeling and the vehicle mile travel reduction studies. So that's getting to be a big item for local jurisdictions when you have development projects. They have to do some new analysis, and it's getting to be, in some cases, quite a burden. So there may be ways where we can help with some of the studies that would help with that. So this is just kind of a list of ideas, and if you have suggestions now or in the next couple months, please shoot those my way. And we will talk about this again. And then since I already had my update, I wanted to take this opportunity just to thank our outgoing directors, Directors Oliveira, Villalta, Laura, and Murphy, just for your guidance, over these years, and for representing your constituents for your entire terms. And we'll see you around, and thank you very much.
Matt, I have a question.
Yes.
How much a reduction is the federal government looking for? Like 10%, 20%, 50%? What do we talk? How much dollar-wise?
We currently have a carryover balance of 200%, and they want it to be 100%. So this year that we're in, we're spending quite a bit on our transit studies, and we think we'll be down to maybe about 140, something like that, 140% carryover. And then by the end of the next year is when they want it to be down to 100%. So a couple 100,000. It's kind of hard to be precise, but a few 100,000.
That's fine. Thank you. Director, do you have any questions of Matt? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, other reports, item 18, Executive Director's Report. Stacy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to give a quick update on kind of where we're at here in the office. You can see we're physically in our conference room with the chairman today. I'd mentioned we have been open to the public since October 1st when our lobby project was completed. And we have we've continued with this multi-layer approach for COVID mitigation here in the office. And so if you see the chairman and I sitting here distanced, we also have a partition that you might not be able to see, one that's tabletop. And then we have these mobile partitions that we've been able to utilize throughout the office.
And our own air conditioning on each side.
Yeah. And we also have a HEPA filter behind us. So we've been really doing our best to help keep our staff safe. We do a lot, and we have a small staff for how much we do. And so, we want to just make sure that we're keeping each other and our families safe. So we are continuing with a reduced in-office staffing plan. As you saw, I think Mauricio is working remote today. So, but as you also see, the management team, executive management team, and myself are here on a rotation throughout the week. So just wanted to keep you updated on that. In terms of the upcoming holidays, our annual schedule does have us, we close at noon on Wednesday, and we will be closed on Thursday and Friday. So those are all being noticed and out to the public. So that's aware. Of course, I have my cell phone. So if you need anything, you can reach me. I will be home. I won't be going anywhere. So if you need anything, give me a call. And then lastly, I just, again, thank you to Directors Villalta and Director Oliveira and Murphy and Lore. I really do appreciate the support you've provided and the service that you've given to the agency over the years and to your community. So thank you very much, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Stacy. Other reports, item 19, Director Reports. Director Pereira.
Nothing from me, Mr. Chair.
Director Aguilar.
I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays, and stay safe.
Director Espinoza.
Happy holidays and safe time with families. Thank you.
Director Hoag? Director Hoag? Director McDaniel or Director Lowe or Lily Lower?
Nothing, thank you.
Director McDaniel?
Sure. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas, and please be safe and remember the reason for this season.
Director Murphy?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Director Oliveira?
Just enjoy the holidays and best of luck in the new year. I'm sure we all can't wait for 2020 to take a hike in the rearview mirror.
Director Severa?
Thank you, Chair. Just really quickly, congratulations, Director Aguilar, on your new position as Mayor of Livingston. And congratulations to Director Hoag on her reappointment. Wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We won't be together before Christmas. So wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And then just one request. I know it's early, but I do really appreciate Joy sending out the Outlook invites for all the meetings at the beginning of the year. That way I get them put on my calendar and I have them automatically pop up. So if Joy would be so kind as to do that next year, it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Director Villalta?
Well, I forgot to thank the MCAG staff for all the hard work and the benefits we received. And Stacy, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you in a number of positions over the years, over the last 14 years, actually. And so, I really appreciate your friendship and as I do the rest of the MCAG staff. Thank you so much. And I've got all your phone numbers, so I feel good. Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Who was that? Thank you, Mike.
I don't believe we have April anymore.
Director Hoag, one more chance. Maybe she's out making coffee for everybody for the holiday. I too want to thank the outgoing directors. Job well done. Thank you guys for your personal time and commitment to the County of Merced, the communities you belong to. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas, and may everybody have a safe holiday and safe travels.
And cheers that 2021 will be a better year.
God bless America. May 2021 be much better. So with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Good night, all.
Bye, everybody.